Welcome to Tux Digital's first ever collaboration, because the last time I didn't actually post it. Because,
I'm honored.
Yeah, right? Is it my first ever? Yes, it is.
Yeah, that I'm here. I think it's your first collaboration where somebody's with you in person.
Right. No, I think
because I did a collaboration where I talked on your show once.
Oh, fair. That's a good point. Yeah, you collaborated on This Week in Linux. That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a video about BitWarden. This has actually been a highly requested topic that I was supposed to do like a year ago, and they were here and we were like, we need to do a video, and I showed him my list of options, and Ryan was like, let's do the BitWarden video. So that's a great idea. I meant to do it a year ago, so let's go ahead and do it now. So we're gonna have two different videos on Ryan's channel at DasGeek and youtube.com/DasGeek. You can check out why you'd want to use BitWarden if you've never seen it heard before. It's a password manager, and it's a very nice, clean, open source password manager. We're gonna get to the features in this video about showing you all the different things that we talked about in his video. But if you've never heard about BitWarden or checked out a password manager in general, you need to go to check out DasGeek's video at youtube.com/DasGeek, where you can see all the reasons why you'd want to check out BitWarden. And I think it's fantastic, and we explain in depth about all the different cool features that are available, and we're going to show some of them right now. So first of all, we're going to go to we're going to switch to the browser view, and we're going to check out the sidebar with the BitWarden sidebar setup. Now, if you look at, there's also a BitWarden most button that when you first set up your system, it will open the sidebar, but a lot of people don't want the sidebar all the time, and that's a fair point because I don't really want it there all the time either. But when you use this drop-down thing, the most annoying thing about this is that if you search for something and then you copy a password, but you also need to copy a username, and you click to put it in, it will go right back to the search field and lose your place.
Meaning it automatically closes here at the top, which by the way, this tip he's giving you, I didn't know until he came here. So I'm one of those ones that would just keep going back and clicking at the top to get my username, then click and go back and get my password.
That's actually one of the things that we can talk about is the sidebar option, is that if you have this sidebar, you can close it and open it through, well, it's actually hard to open. You have to open the sidebar, which you can go to the file menu and blah, blah. Or you can hold Alt, Shift, and then U, and it will go right to your BitWarden sidebar. And this is a huge time saver.
Life changed.
Yes, it is a huge time saver, and the best part about it is that when you do open the sidebar, it will stay there until you're done using it. So you just hit Alt Shift U again, and it goes away. Now, why is it that particular shortcut? I have no idea.
But it's there.
But it works. It's there. Use it. Now we're going to talk about the pin system. Now, this is one of the most important things about BitWarden for me when I switched over, because I was using LastPass at the time, and LastPass was okay, but it had this ridiculously annoying thing where when you use it on your phone, you either type in your ridiculous password, if you have a ridiculous password, which I do, and the other option was to just save it, like a Remember Password website.
Right.
It's like, how is that secure now that anybody who picks up my phone has access to all of my passwords for everything I have? That is a broken system. And I always hated it because I always had to type it in. And then when I got annoyed enough because LogMeIn purchased LastPass, I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with these people anymore. I looked for something and I tried all the different kinds of things, and then I randomly found BitWarden and realized that BitWarden is exactly what I wanted. An open source LastPass, and better than LastPass. And one of the things that makes them better is that they have this pin system. So you can't really see it very well on the camera, but what it does is that this allows you to enter a pin code. And this could be a pin code that is a number, it could be words, it could be whatever you want. It's just the purpose of making it shorter. And the reason this is super valuable is that it's per device pin code. So you don't have to worry about, which you can have the same pin code on every device you want to, if you want to do that. But you can actually have it separate for another one, because maybe there's another computer that you leave at your office, and it's more important that one has a stronger pin code, but you still don't want to type in your ridiculous password. Right. You have that option too.
And you have the option for biometrics. Now, not everybody's a fan of biometrics, but BitWarden has face identification in it. So for iPhone users, if you're using Face Unlock, you have that. You can also do fingerprint unlock. if you want as well. So you can use PIN, fingerprint, face, all of those options depending on what the availability is on the hardware you're using.
But anyway, yeah, fingerprint, Face ID, and also the PIN code. Like if you have a phone that doesn't have fingerprint or Face ID, it used to be you have no option. And technically LastPass does have like fingerprint reader. But it's like when I first got into LastPass, I had a phone that didn't have any of those things. Right. And there's still a lot of phones that don't have those. And having the PIN code system is super simple. And basically everybody understands the PIN code because their bank account and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's such a great thing to have that I felt like I had started using an application that understood security is important, but also convenience is important.
Absolutely.
So they covered both sides, and that is why they're fantastic. And now another thing that they have is also two-factor authentication. So they have the pre version and the premium version. They have two-factor authentication available for both. And we're also going to show another one later on for another authentication system that is going to be for the premium side. But first, the two-factor is actually, if you're not familiar what two-factor means it's two-factor authentication, which means it's a two-step authentication where something you have and something you know. So, for example, you have an application on your phone that is an authenticator app. For example, we're going to show up with Authy, and for some reason the default thing is Humble Bundle. Ignore that part. So what this is that it is an authenticator app that gives you this random code. Now, I don't care if I'm showing you this code because in 20 seconds this code will be worthless.
Right.
So that's one of the best things about two-factor because it's fantastic. Actually, now it's worthless. You know, this new one's now here, and it's going to be worthless in 10 seconds.
You better hurry up.
Yeah, if you can time travel, that'd be impressive. But basically, what happens is that it gives you this code, and if you have this code, which requires physical access to a phone or some other, you can do like YubiKey and whatever. We'll get to that. But you can do this code and also the password, so that even if they do have your password, if they don't have your phone and your authenticator code, it doesn't matter. Even having the password is still worthless. And that's one of the cool things about two-factor and about BitWarden is it has all of these different features. So that's how you use the two-factor authentication. But now we're going to talk about something that is something I enjoy a lot, and that is the self-hosted aspect. I enjoy this about any kind of software. That's one of the things I look at for the most, and that is to have the ability to host it myself. Hosting it myself is always something I look for every application I use. Sometimes I'll use the hosting it, sometimes I won't host it myself. It depends on what it is. In this case, I have done both, and I think either option is totally fine. However, hosting it yourself might not be the best depending on your level of server administration skill and whatever. But what you can do is set up a DigitalOcean droplet and then use do.co/tux for that DigitalOcean droplet. And you can then set up this Docker image, because they actually have a Docker droplet you can just load, and then put the Docker image of BitWarden in that Docker droplet and be good to go. Of course, you still need to do hardening and security stuff for the server itself, but
if you're not an expert, stay away from this option. If you do know what you're doing security-wise, it's an awesome option. But the cool thing about it is you know something's fully open source when you can host it on the server side as well.
Yes, that's the most important piece. Because there's so many things that are like Telegram. It's open, but only on the clients.
Right.
So the server itself isn't open. And I think this is probably the most important piece, is because even if you don't host it yourself, the fact that you can shows that they have so much confidence in their code and so much confidence in their ability to guarantee security, or maybe not guarantee it, because obviously there's no way to 100% guarantee security.
Right. No such thing.
Right. But to put as much effort as they possibly can and are comfortable showing you the code that they use to do it proves, as well as even the server, proves that they actually do have a lot of confidence in their work.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why I like BitWarden.
Now, can you migrate if let's say I sign up?
Yes.
Nice.
That's one of the coolest things, is that you can create a hosted version, and then you can go to self-hosted if you like. Now, the way of doing this is different, because you have to have, I'd have to, in order to show you how to do this migration, I would need to have a server set up for this. And we don't currently have a server because we're kind of doing it in like a short amount of time. So apologize for that. If I can do it in post, I will let you know if I can. You will just see it right now. But just in case I didn't have time to do it in post, we're going to show you is the idea is that you had a droplet set up for you, and then you just take an export of all the content in your droplet or in your BitWarden, and your BitWarden vault specifically, and then import it into the now self-hosted version. And that's all you have to do. The import export is super, super simple. So we're going to go ahead and, since we're talking about imports, let's just go ahead and jump into the import section as well for the regular stuff, whether you're using a different thing or not. So whether you can use BitWarden and you can migrate from basic, almost everything I've ever heard of and stuff I've never even heard of in the first place. So let's say you want to import your items from another company. You go to the import items in your sidebar, and it will just show you all the companies that you can get. Now, if you have LastPass, it will show you like instructions directly from LastPass. But essentially what it does on the side, it's saying that this is what it supports from the exporter. So some of these things will use CSV, some will use JSON. It depends on what the actual company uses as their export tool. Some will specify multiple export options, and that's why they list which ones they were compatible with. So, for example, LastPass does CSV. Now, all you need to do is go in. I don't have a LastPass account anymore, so it's kind of hard for me to demonstrate this. But if you go into the export section of LastPass, it will say, do you would like to export all of your passwords? You click yes, and it will only, I'm pretty sure it only gives you a CSV option.
It might, but if it has multiple options, that's where you would select, I want the CSV file, because that's what's going to give you the best import.
Yeah, good point. So the CSV file is, if you're not sure what that means comma separated values. And that's when you look at it, it'll just have a ton of different code and different text separated by commas. And the reason why I prefer them to have CSV because it's just smoother.
It's kind of a standard.
Yeah, it's a standard. JSON is also pretty good too, and some of them have their own special export tool. But what's cool about this, like F-Secure Key has their own FSK format, and BitWarden supports that particular format.
Right. They spent the time to figure it out, which is pretty cool.
Exactly. So once you have your export file, then you want to do the import, obviously. So, but the thing about this is that when you do an import, you don't actually use the sidebar or any of the tools with extensions. You need to go to your web vault. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to the front page and click the Access Web Vault. You can actually do this other places too.
Which is basically vault.bitwarden.com, as it says below. So you're just opening a browser, putting that in.
Right. You're gonna go to that section, and then once you do, we're gonna go into this vault. And in here, you're going to click the Tools tab and then the Import Data option. Now you'll select which file it is, and then you'll click Browse to find the actual files you want. It'll just, whichever one your export tool gives you. So as you can see, there are a couple of options to import. You'll see the ability to import a specific file and also a copy and pasting feature. Now you might be wondering, why is there a copy and pasting feature? Well, some services, such as LastPass, do not output a file. They just output the text in your web browser because reasons, I guess. So from here, I'm going to show you how to export your data from LastPass. If you're not using LastPass, using something else, I can't really have everything included in that, but I wanted to show LastPass because of the way it does their output of exporting is odd. So you'll need to log into the Web Vault version, not the extensions, because exporting is only available through the Web Vault that I have found. So first of all, we're going to go to More Options, and then you'll see this Advanced option. You click that, and then there'll be Export. Now when you click Export, it will ask you for your password and username information. So once you put that information in, you'll be able to get this data. So for example, this is just a demonstration of some basic data. I didn't even put any passwords in here or whatever. This is just an example of how it will output it as text. So what you need to do is just copy, Control-A, Control-C, copy the text, and then paste it into the BitWarden field for pasting, and then you can do the import function. So LastPass is an example where technically it's a CSV, comma separated value system, how they export the data, but they don't give you a file to do it. So you could just manually create a file from this data if you want to for some reason, or just copy and paste it and put it into the BitWarden import tool. Then once you're done, all you do is click the import tool, and that's it. It takes a few seconds, actually, not even that long, really.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously fast. And like when I first did it, I was like, okay, let's see how long this takes. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unlike a lot of services like email, for instance, this is a very easy migration effort on your part to go to BitWarden. And again, because it's open source, because they've had so much security testing, like we talked about in my video, that's why you want to go to BitWarden.
Yes, exactly. BitWarden is so fast, so easy, and the migration is just as easy and everything. So yeah, definitely, if you want to learn more about like the values of BitWarden, you definitely need to go check out the video at DasGeek or youtube.com/DasGeek. And then we got a couple more things we're going to talk about here. One, we're going to talk about the password generator. So they have a password generator for all of their apps. So for example, here we're going to show you this password generator here on the.
Wait a minute, Michael. I'll never remember that password. It's too long.
So you're not wrong. But you don't have to because BitWarden saves the password.
Nice.
There you go. There's also a password when you do click to use it. It will do a drop down that says you want to save this login once you log in. That is very useful, but not always consistent. Not always there. Not always efficient. And that's true for every single password manager.
Absolutely.
It's better to just create the password, copy it, and then go to the add new when you're like on the page. So you click add a login and then paste it here because that will guarantee it will be there.
Because I have generated a password and then not thought about creating a manual entry for it, and then I go and copy something else and I lose that generated password, and now I have to go through recovery options. So make sure you go as soon as you do the generation and create a login item for that login. And what's cool about that generation is it allows you to set how many digits, set the different parameters if you want special characters, all of that stuff.
Right. It's definitely useful right there. And I think that what the really cool about the generation is that it is so customizable, but we do need to make sure we're clear about the fact that it's probably easier to just manually put it in. Just in the sense that you can guarantee it's there. But when you go to the generator right here, and you can see it's already got a new password, and you can also regenerate a password as much as you want. Then there's also not only just passwords, you can regenerate passphrases, which are just random, a bunch of letters combined with a dash or whatever separator you want to use. You can use basically any separator if you want to. And now we're going to go back to the passwords real quick. We'll come back to the passphrase in a second. But with a password, I like to make the password length ridiculous. Now, you could make it's upward to 128 characters, and that might be a bit excessive, but, somewhere around 32 to 60 or something like that. It's not going to be that ridiculous, but here's the best part. As you pointed out earlier, there's no way to remember it. I wouldn't be able to remember the 14 by default that they come with, because they come with 14.
My brain's a quantum computer. I'll remember that any day of the week, but most humans, yes, you're right.
Good point.
Yeah.
I forgot about that feature you have. So we're going to go up to the wonderful 42 as the one we're going to do, and we're going to regenerate that password. So that is a ridiculously long password, but it doesn't matter because password managers the whole purpose is that they will remember for you, so you don't have to.
Yep.
You remember your master password, and that is it. So I would also suggest adding symbols in here. So you shouldn't. There's one of the things that some passwords will, like some websites, I hate it when they have a minimum requirement of certain things because that lowers the randomness of it. So anytime there's a website, if you run a website and if you have passwords on your website and you have any stipulations of how a password should be, stop it. The only thing you should do is say, don't have a 4-digit password or a 4-character password. Have at least 8. Tell them to have at least 8 characters. But beyond that, don't limit anything else. Like, don't say you need this many numbers or a minimum amount of this many special characters. And also, don't tell me what special characters I should have. Don't specify those special characters. Anytime you put specifications, you are lowering the randomness and lowering the security of what those passwords can be. So don't do that. Anyway, so what you should do is always have a minimum of 1 of all these things, and then let whatever randomness is going to happen.
Yeah.
And So that's why I have it set here to be all these checked and then one-on-one. So by default, the symbols are not checked. You definitely want to check them because it will add a ton of extra security in those passwords.
Well, this makes it really hard for me to share my password with my friends.
Good.
Oh.
There is an option to actually share your accounts and your
true.
passwords if you want to.
Like with your wife or
Sure.
Spouse, whatever.
And not even just for logging in. It doesn't have to be a login thing. It can be a thing where you're setting up where you can just share access to an individual password. And they have that as an option in BitWarden. I'm not going to show that as a demonstration option because don't do that.
You should probably not.
You should probably not share passwords just because unless you have a guarantee that they need to log into your password for some reason, send it over Signal or something.
And let's be honest, the 60% divorce rate plus,
yeah,
you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Don't share all of your personal info.
Yeah, so, there's things can happen.
Right.
It's just better not to do that.
Good luck to you, buddy.
Signal is a much better option because Signal will allow you to have secure messages, and you can send passwords over Signal if you need to. But that's also meaning that you guarantee that person you're sending it to is that person because you should be verifying when you connect to someone on Signal. And that way you know that stuff is encrypted. Whereas some people would use the sharing passwords through, there's a sharing feature.
WhatsApp, that would be secure.
That would be a terrible choice. It's not bad, no. So don't use any of those things. Don't use email. Definitely don't use email. Even if you have Proton Mail, it's just better because the person you're sending to probably doesn't or maybe doesn't. So it's just better to have something is secure.
Encrypted. Yeah.
It's secure, and Signal's a good option for that. We could talk about Signal in a future collaboration video.
I like that idea. Yeah.
So let's move on to the next feature, and that is the passphrases. So passphrases are the same kind of thing. I like to have a lot of ridiculous words. I always have ridiculous long passwords.
A lot of people are using sentences and passphrases in place of passwords because you can create very complex passwords with a sentence that you can remember. But of course, yes. BitWarden, you don't have to. But there may be some cases, for instance, you're not going to get BitWarden on your PlayStation, right? Your PlayStation 4. But you may have a Sony login. So in that case, you may want to use a long sentence like this and let BitWarden generate it for you, and then what you can do is it'll be much easier for you to remember that sentence or type it in. Or of course, you could pull up BitWarden on your phone or any device and manually type it that way. But sometimes people find sentences to be more helpful.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's why I wanted to cover the passphrases because the idea that people can remember those gibberish things are impossible.
Right.
But it is possible to remember these passphrases because it's just the random words in a string separated by a dash. I chose to also capitalize everything because it just gives a better, less likelihood of algorithm because they're going to be the extra character change is good.
Not anymore because now we know.
Well, I'm not using this particular passphrase.
Oh, okay, darn it.
Yeah. Or this particular account, I do. We got to point that out. We both use BitWarden, but naturally when you talk about you make a video just demonstrating BitWarden, it's better not to use your own account.
Here, look at all my complex passwords.
Yeah, exactly. No one would ever come up with these. But yeah, this is a demo account we built just for this purpose. And anyway, so you can see dwelling, husband, lisp, retrial, trodden, cupid, jackknife. They're all just random words in a sequence, and that's what makes them important is that they're random. If you have just a regular sentence, there's going to be some randomness there, but there's going to be also consistency, like the and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just completely random words thrown together in a string, and that's the best way to do a passphrase. And as you said, that it is a lot.
And it would be better to check that include number option because what's going to happen is the dictionaries that are used for brute force attacks that are guessing passwords, they're now going to have to add numbers into that. It makes it far more difficult. So you can include numbers. And maybe, again, if this is something you need to not have in BitWarden that you need to memorize, you don't need 14 words. The more you can remember, the better. But yeah, Michael went a little crazy here.
Well, okay, sure.
Yeah,
it's a little bit over the top. You don't need to do that many. You could go with 9, sure.
There you go.
I like how idiocy is one of the 9.
Is it trying to tell us something?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they were saying 14 is too much, man.
Yeah, exactly. You idiot.
But yeah, as you can see, it only adds one number, so you don't even have to remember a ton of numbers. You just remember that one, and it just puts it randomly in some place. So,
which will completely throw off brute force dictionary attack.
Yeah, exactly. So capitalize, include number, whatever amount of words you want. But we're going to move on to the last feature of this video, and that's the one-time passwords, or TOTP.
Timed one-time password.
Okay. So we're moving on to TOTP. Apparently is timed one-time passwords. Wait, what? Why would it be timed one time? That seems weird.
Because it rotates and changes every couple seconds.
Good point. It's timed. But it's just badly named.
Maybe.
They need to work on their marketing.
No, it's an industry standard. Everybody uses TOTP.
The industry needs to work on their marketing.
All right, so for TOTP, I'll show you here in the app. What you can see here is that the TOTP line item has a camera right next to it in the app. Now, normally you would click on that and you would have a QR code when you go into, let's say, PayPal, and you set up that you want two-factor authentication through TOTP. You're going to have a QR code that's going to show up that you're going to scan. So on this app, you'll see the little camera symbol. You would click that. It's going to open your camera. You're going to scan it. That's going to give you that authenticator key that's going to rotate and change every few seconds to a different password. And then basically when you would go to log into PayPal, you would use your long complex password BitWarden set for you. Then it would ask you for the TOTP. You would open up this app and it would keep rotating that key, just like if you're using something like Authy or anything else would do, which rotates that password. But you have it all there contained within BitWarden.
Right. And also to clarify, this is for the premium version of BitWarden, but it's a very cheap price, ridiculously cheap. We talk about it more in your video.
Yep.
So you can learn all the different features that you get with the premium version. This just happens to be one of them. There are actually quite a few. I think YubiKey is also one of the premiums.
Yep.
Yeah. So go check out his video at youtube.com/DasGeek to check out all the different features of the premium versus the free. And there's also an enterprise. We talk about that too. So yeah, this is pretty much all of the features that we're going to cover on this video. If you have any requests for more in-depth demonstrations of certain things, feel free to leave a comment below because BitWarden is a fantastic application and it is also kind of complex in some cases. So if you do have any issues, please let us know. We'd love to help you. And you can also go to the DestinationLinux.network forum where you can go to discourse.destinationlinux.network. And there you can ask all the questions. There's actually going to be a thread for this video, for both of our videos on the forum. So if you are interested in, you can go there and ask any questions that you want, and we will be happy to answer either in the comments or on the YouTube the YouTube forum, the Discourse forum for Destination Linux, because we're there all the time, and that's actually the best place to find us is going to the Discourse forum on DestinationLinux.network, and yeah. So if you would like to have us do some more content about BitWarden, or if you wanted to see more of our collaborations, be sure to subscribe to both of our channels. You can see that you can find the button below for my channel, obviously. And if you want to check out more DasGeek, go to youtube.com/DasGeek or DasGeekCommunity.com.
You better smash that like button.
Yes, exactly. And fill your brains.
Yeah, do that too.